This week on The Swing, we talk to SGA President-Elect Darien Flowers, Julia Boyd asks your opinions on the housing process, and Kassondra Cloos runs through this week's paper in less than 90 seconds. Hello, and welcome to The Swing. I'm Brittany Lloyd-Jones. Last week, the student body chose junior Darien Flowers to act as the next SGA Executive President in a runoff election. We asked you what you thought were the biggest issues facing the student body, and we sat down with Darien this week to talk about his plans for office. Take a look.
The first thing I want to do is really overhaul our website. Outside of the Senate members and the Executive Council, the website is, I think, the biggest resource that we have at our disposal that actually isn't really being utilized to its most effective nature. And so that's why I really want to work with the university communication staff to see what can be done to really make our website as effective as possible and use it really as a tool to reach our constituents outside of just our regular Senate members and the other tactics that we use to engage our constituents. And so I think that we're putting in the same amount of effort and thoughtfulness, and so student organizations don't need to worry about the fact that they speak out at SGA that there is going to be some kind of negative consequence or repercussion just because of the fact that they don't agree with something that we're doing. I think the most important goal I have is streamlining the Senate to make sure that it is running most efficiently and and is making it as easy as possible for students to contact their representatives and gain information about what the Senate is doing. So that's really, I think, where the website comes in, and then also looking at some of the ways that we run our meetings to make sure that they're not as lengthy, but also have the most accurate system of records keeping and dissemination of our information to students. So I think that is the one thing that I'm looking at during my term in office.
Residence Life quickly filled its quota for on-campus juniors and seniors last week when the number of slots were taken long before the end of the housing process. Here's Julia Boyd with students' opinions on the housing process and where they'll be living next year.
Hey everyone, my name is Julia Boyd and I'm reporting for The Swing. With housing selection just around the corner, this week I asked students how the selection process has been for them.
Do you know where you're living next year?
I'm living in Park Place.
Hopefully the Oaks.
4-person Oaks apartment with some of my friends who got priority.
No, not really. I have a general idea, but no, not really.
I honestly have no idea. It's either Crest or Oaks, I think, right now. I want to live in Colonnades.
How has the housing process been for you trying to straighten all of this out?
Not very easy at all.
I had originally planned on living with a rising junior, and then by the time we actually got to register with the seniors and by the time our registration time came up, we had no options for doubles.
When I went through the Elon housing process, I just checked that I was not living on campus the next year. It's going to be literally thousands of dollars cheaper for me to live off campus next year than it will be to live on campus.
If you had to choose between living in the station with like a lunatic or right here in a box with your best friend, what would you choose?
I'm probably going to go with the lunatic because it gets kind of cold out here.
The second one, what?
Out here with a box, definitely. Yeah, make do with what I have and rather be with my best friend.
Finally, here's Kassondra Cloos with a 90-second rundown of what else you can find in print and online this week here at The Pendulum.
Thanks, Brittany. On the front page of this week's edition of The Pendulum, students talk back about the housing selection process. Last Thursday, Residence Life filled all its on-campus housing spots reserved for juniors and seniors before the end of the first slot for rising juniors. Nikki Turley, Assistant Dean of Students, said many of those on the waiting list should be able to secure on-campus housing. Elon will expand its Los Angeles summer program to offer students the opportunity to live and intern there for a full semester. The program will be offered starting spring of next year and has capacity for about 14 to 16 Elon students, as well as 10 to 12 students from other undergraduate universities. Sophomore Elizabeth Greenberg, an entrepreneurship major, recently started an origami flower arrangement business with her mom called Nonsense Flowers. Greenberg thought of the idea when she was unable to bring live flowers to a friend undergoing cancer treatment at an oncology facility last spring, where real flowers are prohibited. The business has been successful so far. The Isabella Cannon International Center will host the first winter term fair this month to showcase each of the programs to be offered in January 2013. The fair will be held from 10:30 to 1:30 Thursday, March 8 in McKinnon Hall. After 4 months of training and games, the Elon Phoenix women's and men's basketball teams will head to Asheville this weekend to compete in the SoCon tournament. The women's team will play its first game against Stanford University March 3rd. The men's team has a first-round bye and will play the winner of the Chattanooga and Georgia Southern University game at 8:30 March 3rd. Finally, don't forget to check out this week's editorial for the pendulum stance that the university should include student input when creating the annual budget and increasing tuition. I'm Kassondra Cloos, and thanks for watching the 90-Second News Desk.
Thanks, Kassondra. Until next time, I'm Brittany Lloyd-Jones. For the latest news, multimedia, and podcast, head to elonpendulum.com. Thanks for watching and have a great week.